So you thought buying an old British bike would be really cool? Fantasy. Reality, you buy an old British bike, you fix it, you drive it, it breaks. You fix it, you drive it, it breaks. And sometimes at night after you fixed it and you go for a drive, it breaks itself. This time on ECRN Garage, we're going to be fixing the broken light switch for my ride yesterday, which both high and low being quit on my way home. And the gas cap isn't venting properly. It might not be the right cap for this Honda tank that we converted to fit on this BSA. But I think I've solved the venting issue, and we'll check those both out. First things first, we'll work on the gas cap. I'm just going to mark it for straight up and down. And when I open it up, usually gas pours out of this thing. Because this gas tank is mounted on an angle. I think the original bike, it was mounted flat, so it drains down that hole in the bottom, but where it's at an angle, it fills up and then it blocks my vent off. So just going to put this in the vise, and we're going to drill a new vent hole. Got the new vent hole all drilled out. So now when this gas cap's in the proper position, the gas will run to the back of the cap. So when I take it off, when I go to fill it, it won't dump gas all over the tank. And also there's a vent hole in this as well with a tiny pinhole. Let's see where it's at. Right up there. I don't know if you can see that. I drilled that out a couple sizes bigger. So now we shouldn't have any venting or draining issues in the gas tank. Let's take this switch apart and see what happened. There's a detent in these cheap little switches. I use these universal switches on a lot of my old bikes. There's one on the race bike, it's a kill switch. Now that seeing that this has failed only after a couple years of use, I might look for a switch that's a little better. Hate to have that die when you're racing this. This is just a cheap universal kind of thing. Alright, see what happened inside. Not sure. All the wires are good. It looks like just the mechanism itself. Came loose. That's the horn button. That one's good. And this one is the power. Feed. I'll have to get my meter and check this out. I'm going to turn the key on and check for 12 volt to ground on the base of the switch. So there's the power switch. Got 12 volts. On either side. I'm not getting 12 volts on this side. It's there. There it is. Okay. So I got 12 volts on the power coming in and going out. I'm just getting resistance. Seems like something's shorted out Turn the key off. So the switch is working properly, it's just a bit loose. But it seems that between the high and low beam, I'm getting continuity. And they're both reading out the ground, which they should. Alright, looks like there's a problem between here and the headlight. So I'm going to have to open up the headlight and see what's going on in there. Like I said, old bikes, you see people with nice old bikes, there's usually a lot of hours of work that goes into them just to keep them running. And it's a great idea, but if you don't enjoy working on stuff, or don't have the ability, if you have to pay someone to work on your bikes, just get a newer bike and customize it that way, because these old ones are problematic. Alright, let's see what we got in here now. So I removed the headlight for easier access, and I'm just going to meter out the switch. I took the pin out of the middle, and I was able to identify the ground. And this continuity between this part of the headlight and that pin is good. And continuity between the high beam. Oh, get that bead in there. There. We've got everything metered out. There's continuity between all the wires and 12 volts. So the problem is in the little switch. So I took it apart and I'm going to see what's in there. So I took the switch apart and all that's there is a little ball bearing for the detent. And there's a spring inside of there, but the spring looks like it's collapsed. See if I can get that out. Alright, so, I don't know how well you can see this, but, oh, dropped the spring. Lost forever. Oh, there it is. Alright, see if you can see this. The spring is all full of corrosion. And it looks, you know, so it's probably just rust. That thing is not sealed up tight, it's just a cheapy switch. So probably the humidity, the salty fog we have here in Nova Scotia. Looks like it corroded some of the coils together. I'm going to pick that out and see if I can get this spring back to normal. What I think was happening was the spring got corroded and collapsed and it wasn't pushing against the terminals. That ball actually makes contact under that switch, so there wasn't enough pressure to make a good circuit. That's why I lost low beam, and then about 10 minutes later the high beam quit too. So I'm going to clean it up, maybe stretch it a bit to put a little tension and put it back together. That might be the problem. Dental picks from the old Princess Auto. See if I can break that corrosion up or whatever's in there. Not sure what it is. Looks like the spring's turned. It's like the chrome plating come off of it, and a bunch of gunk got in between and just fused itself together. Alright, let's try the little wire brush on that. Alright, let's put the switch back together and see if we can get this thing working. We'll test for continuity again. Got all these connectors all cleaned up now, so. Okay. That one's good. That one's good. So we put that together and we'll have a properly working high and low beam switch again. Excellent. No cost to me. Try the old high beam, low beam out. Tail lights on. Brake light works. Low beam. High beam. Alright, looks like we got that bad connection fixed. Thanks for tuning in this time on ECRN Garage. God knows what we're going to fix next. Well, it's the next day and I guess I spoke too soon. Remember when I said these things would break themselves overnight? Well, I got a fuel leak around the 48-year-old petcock. I'm not sure why it would leak after being, 48 years old, but anyway, Honda, I don't know what they're doing. They can't seem to make anything right. Anyway, these are available brand new for about $16 online. I'm not even going to bother try to rebuild it. It's so cheap, I'll just buy another one. Anyway, that's another tip for owning an old British motorcycle, or a Honda, I guess in this case, that they break themselves.